God bless you, dear ones. Welcome to the Word with Chester. Today we will begin the book of Hosea. This is a wonderful book, my dears, and I trust that you will stay with us as we read completely through it. This book, God is actually showing his love through a very obscure situation, letting us know that God can use anything to show himself to us. And in this particular book, he's using the life of Hosea and his family to show how much he loves us. But you need to stay with us so that you can grasp every point of this book. As I mentioned, this is the book of Hosea, and the author is actually the title of the book. Hosea wrote it himself, and we're talking, the theme of the book is the redeeming love. The redeeming love. And you know what that word redeem means. You repurchase it or bring it back, and we have to know God in that way. Everybody's not going to live an upstanding life, and even some of those that we say are living an upstanding life, their mindset is to the point that they have actually gone away farther than the ones that we have our fingers pointed at. So we'll be talking about redeeming love. This particular book was wrote in the 8th century BC. Now keep in mind now, we just read the book of Daniel, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Daniel, all of those prophets prophesied in the 6th century BC. So this is approximately 2 centuries now before that, where Hosea is prophesying. And I want you to get that picture now, the time frame. 2 centuries is a long time. We could put it in the era, I would imagine. Esther was 7th century BC, so we have to go back even further. And books in that category, the historical books that we read about, this is in that category, a century above or a century behind, however you want to put it. So this is wrote in the 8th century BC. So you get a time frame in your mind when this writer wrote it, and naturally, if Hosea wrote the book, it had to be wrote during his lifetime. Number one, a dead man's not gonna write no book, so you have to understand that time frame. He was alive during this, so you know the era that he was living in the 8th century BC. Now, Hosea, whose name means the Lord saves. In the day that we live, we name our kids anything, something that just sounds good, a jingle. But in days of old, they named their children names that actually meant something. I know in the day that we live, we just name them anything, but actually the name means something. Now my name is Chester. My first name is Chester, and my name actually means something. It has a meaning. My name means an established camp, or an established village, or established small city, if you please, but yet an established village. And so you have to understand that names have a meaning, and God here is using Hosea, number one, and he's living up to his name. Hosea, whose name means the Lord saves. That's what his name means, the Lord saves. He carried on his ministry during the days of 4 different kings now, kings of Judah. and those are the kings. I'm going to mention 4 kings in Judah, and then 1 king in Israel. Now he carried out his ministry during the time of King Uzziah, King Jotham, King Ahaz, and King Hezekiah. So his ministry was in operation during that time. And also King of Israel, keep in mind the King of Judah and the King of Israel at this point, Israel was not under 1 king. Remember the tribe split under Jeroboam the first. Now Jeroboam the first and Rehoboam after Solomon become to be king. 4 tribes in Judah, I mentioned them: Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah. And of Rehoboam the second, or Jeroboam the second. Now, so in that time frame, during the reign of these kings, Hosea prophesied. Excuse me. Now, Jeroboam II was king of Israel. Hosea was a contemporary of Amos and in Israel, and Isaiah now, and Micah in Judah. He was a contemporary. So he wrote, or he prophesied during this time frame. We read the book of Isaiah. So in the time frame of Isaiah and Micah in Judah, and his ministry continued after the first or Assyrian captivity of the northern kingdom, when Assyria went down and besieged the northern kingdoms, and that being they call themselves Israel, if you please, and they were besieged by Syria, not Judah. Now the northern kingdoms was besieged by the Assyrians. Now, the theme of the opening chapter of Hosea's prophecy is the unfaithfulness of Israel. Now, we're going to open it up with the unfaithfulness of Israel set forth in terms of the marriage relationship, a familiar figure of speech depicting God's relation of his chosen people. Can you get the picture? He's using Hosea's life now to show, number one, that he is married to Israel and married to all of the children of Israel, that being Judah and also Israel. So I hope you're getting this. Now, Israel's forsaking of the Lord was brought home to Hosea in the adulterous act of his own wife, so that his personal experience became an allegory of God's experience with Israel. I hope you're getting the picture. He's using Hosea's life. God is using Hosea's life to show his relationship with Israel. Number one, and how bad they are. And as we read on, we may not cover everything in that today, but as we read on in the book of Hosea, we'll find out that how God loved Israel, how he loved her, even after she had done all of the things that she had done. Now we're going to begin our reading today in verse 1 of the book of Hosea. I trust that you have your Bibles and you're reading along with us. We will open up with the prophetic tragic experience in verses 1 to 3. In the introductory words of Hosea, shall we read now in verse 1, the word of the Lord that came unto Hosea, the son of Bereai, in the day of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, king of Judah, and in the days of Jeroboam, and you have to know that that's Jeroboam the second. In those days, the days of Jeroboam the second, the son of Joash, king of Israel. Let's read on now. Now, we'll be talking here about the marriage and birth of his first son, but let's read the beginning of the word of the Lord by Hosea. And the Lord said to Hosea, go take unto thee a wife of harlotry, and children of harlotry. Well, that's a hard thing, but Hosea is saying the Lord said this. I know there are commentaries, and I could name them, but I'm not going to name the names of whatever commentaries. They say to the effect that Hosea, this is what he liked and this is what he did, and he did that on his own, and God chose to speak and get glory out of it. But here I'm reading the Bible here, and I choose to believe the Bible, and the beginning of the word of the Lord by Hosea. And the Lord said unto Hosea, go, take unto thee a wife of harlotry, and children of harlotries, for the land hath committed great harlotry, departing from the Lord. Well, I know what I just read in the scripture. He said the Lord told him to do it. Now, he may have liked that type of woman, I can't tell you, but God told him to marry a daughter of harlotry. Now, let's read in verse 3. So he went and took Gomer, the daughter of Deblaim, who conceived and bore him a son. And the Lord said unto him, call his name Jezreel, for yet a little while, and I will avenge the blood of Jezreel upon the house of Jehu, and will cause to cease the kingdom of the house of Israel. So God is just letting them know, this is what I'm going to do now, and you have to get this prophecy. God is going to cause to cease now the kingdom of the house of Israel. Well, get the picture. This is what God is speaking now through the prophet Hosea. Now let's read. Well, let me not go too fast. I will say some things as we read through about Israel, but let's read on now. In verse 5, and it shall come to pass at the day that I will break the bow of Israel in the valley of Jezreel. I will break the bow. And you know, the bow now was a fighting instrument. A bow and arrow, as we use the whole term, bow and arrow, because you need the arrow for the bow to do its job. Well, I want you to get the picture of what God is saying. It shall come to pass at that day that I will break the bow of Israel in the valley of Jezreel. And if you read the history of Israel, you will know what happened during that time. We read it when we read in the book of the Kings and the book of the Chronicles. Now let's read on in verse 6. Now another birth of one of his children, and she conceived. This harlot woman conceived and bore a daughter. And God said unto him, call her name Lo-Ruhamah, for I will no more have mercy upon the house of Israel, but I will utterly take them away. Well, get the picture. The names of these children have a meaning. And as they were being born, they would name something that would happen to Israel. I hope you're getting the picture here. I will utterly take them away. Now let's read in verse 7. And I will have mercy upon the house of Judah, and will say save them by the Lord their God, and will not save them by bow, nor by sword, nor by battle, by horses, nor by horsemen. And if you remember reading all of the things that we've read up to now, how that God had took Judah down in the land of in the Babylon. He took them into captivity, but he did not let them be destroyed. I want you to get the picture. He did not cause them to cease. And we could talk about the promises that he made to David, that his kingdom would not end. Well, so Judah I want you to get the picture. God had his hand on Judah even when they were in captivity. We read in the last book we studied about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He used them down in Babylon now. He used them to let that whole nation see that the true and the living God is real. I hope you're getting the picture of what we're saying now. I better read that again. But I will have mercy upon the house of Judah, and will save them by the Lord their God, and will not save them by bow, nor by sword, nor by battle, by horses, or by horsemen. Let's read now a birth of another child now. Now, when she had weaned Lo-ruhamah, she conceived and bore a son. And then God said, call this name Lo-ammi, for ye are not my people, and I will not be your God. Well, get the picture. He named that child there, and also a statement that God is saying actually to Israel now, not Judah, but to Israel. Now we're going to read on in verse 10. Then God is going to speak through Hosea. We'll be talking about future restoration of Israel. He's going to go down the lines of time and talk about the future restoration of Israel. Now let's read in 10. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be like the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, ye are not my people, that it shall be said unto them, ye are the sons of the living God. Well, the same place that is said that they are not that God said you're not my people. Then he's going to say in the same place that you are the sons of the living God. Well, it's showing you, and you're going to get a picture as we read, the forgiving nature of God. And even in extremes, when Israel went all the way and just did terrible things, and God detested them and put them out of his sight, he yet loved them, and then he had a future for them down the lines of time. Now let's read in verse 11. Then said the children of Judah, then shall the children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together and appoint themselves one head, and they shall come up out of the land. And for great shall be the day of Jezreel. Now that was a name that Hosea named his child. Well, God told him to name your child this. Number one, he had a purpose. He had a purpose dealing with Israel and Judah. Now we're going to read on into chapter 2. I trust that you're reading along with me. Chapter 2, verse 1. Say ye unto your brethren, am I, and to your sister Ruhamah, Ruhama, if you want to pronounce it that way. He says, saying to your brother and your sister. Now let's read, and we'll be talking here about the chastisement of Israel, and you can read about it yourself if you want to go to 2 Kings, 2 Kings chapter 17, verses 1 through 18. You can read about that chastisement, but let's read on in verse 2. Contend with your mother, contend, and she is not my wife. I'm going to read it again. Contend with thy mother, contend, for she is not my wife, neither am I her husband. Let her therefore put away her harlotry out of her sight, and her adulteries from between her breasts. In other words, God is he's actually using Hosea's situation, actually talking about Israel, saying she is not my wife, she is a harlot, she has gone out in the harlotry. Now let's read. Lest I stir up her naked, and set her as in the days that she was born, and make her like a wilderness, and set her like a dry land, and slay her with thirst. We can talk about it. We can go all the way back to Hagar and thirst and all of these type of things. We could talk about many things in here, but I choose to read. Let's read. And I will not have mercy upon her children, for they are the children of harlotry. Here he's talking about Israel now. They are the children of harlotry. He's talking about Israel. They have played the harlot now, and actually using the life of Hosea. Now let's read in verse 5. And their mother hath played the harlot. She hath conceived them, have done shamefully, for she said, I will go after my lovers that give me my bread and my water, my wool and my flax, mine oil and my drink. What is she saying? I'll go after my lovers. I'm going to go after the one that's going to give me money. I'm going to go out after the one that's going to give me the most goods and increase my wealth. Let's read. Therefore, behold, I will hedge up thy way with thorns, and make a wall, and she shall not find her path. In other words, God is saying, I'm going to intervene now, and you won't be able to find your path. Let's read. And she shall follow after her lovers, but she shall not overtake them, and she shall seek them, but shall not find them. Then shall she say, I will go and return to my first husband, for then was it better with me than now. In other words, this harlot woman, if you please, and God is styling Israel after this situation, saying she's chasing money now. She's out with her lovers. The richer people, her clientele was giving her riches, but she's going to chase them and not catch them. Get what the Bible said. She'll seek them and she won't find them. And when she can't find them, she says she's going to say, I'll go back to my husband now. It was better when I was with my husband. At least I got to eat every day. I may not have had all of the wealth that I'm seeking, but he supplied the needs that I had. Now let's read on in verse 8. For she did not know that I gave her grain and wine and oil, and multiplied her silver and gold, which they prepared for Baal. She didn't know that everything she needed was here, even the grain that they had prepared for Baal out there. She had all that she needed. Now let's read now in 9. Therefore will I return and take away thy grain in its time, and my wine in its season, and will recover my wool and my flax given to cover her nakedness. In other words, when I feel like it's the time, I'm going to remove all of that, all that you were seeking, all of the flax and all of the wool and all of the riches that you were seeking. God is saying, I will remove all of that now. We're in verse 10, and now will I uncover her lewdness in the sight of her lovers. Even her lovers will be looking at her sitting up there stark raving naked, and none shall deliver her out of my hand. When she's in my hand, her lovers won't be able to deliver her. No one will be able to deliver her. In other words, God is saying, because I'm involved, I'm in control of this, and can't nobody save her now. Now let's read in verse 11. I will also cause all her mirth to cease, her feast days, her new moon, and her Sabbaths, and all her solemn feasts. I'm going to read now. God is saying, I'm going to call all of these things to cease now. I'm going to cause them to stop, and I will destroy her vines and her fig trees, of which she has said, these are my rewards that my lovers have given me, and I will make them a forest, and the breast of the field, the beast of the field shall eat them. In other words, I am taking everything away. If you choose to live that lifestyle, I'm going to take it away from you, and you'll know that where I am, there was safety. Where I am, where God is, and where God is, there's safety. In the case of this harlot woman, where her husband was, there's safety. In verse 13, and I will judge her for the days of Balaam. Balaam was an idol. Now, let me not go too far off. I will judge her for the days of Balaam, unto which she burned incense. She decked herself with her earrings and her jewels, and she went after her lovers and forgot me, saith the Lord. She went out after her lovers and she forgot God. She forgot me. Well, get the picture. God don't want you to forget him, but if you do, he knows how to get you back where you need to be, and he'll remove everything, and you'll be there exposed. And I want you to see what God is saying about Hosea's life in marrying this harlot woman. I want you to get the picture. Well, dears, I want you to know that I love you with the love of the Lord. If any of you would like to accept Jesus as your Savior, repeat after me. Jesus, come into my heart. Forgive me for my sins. I am sorry for the wrongs that I've done. I will forsake my sins. I'm sorry for them. I believe that you shed your blood on Calvary cross for my sins. I believe you were resurrected on the third day. If you said that simple prayer, I believe Jesus came into your heart. Now find yourself a Bible preaching, Bible teaching church. Go there. Let them speak into your lives, my dears. Ask them to baptize you in water. Let them know that you received Jesus listening to the Word with Chester ministry. Ask them to lead you further, and God will bless you. Again, I say, I love you, my dears. I love you with the love of the Lord. God bless you.